Bonjour Yórgos.
Bonjour.
Yeah, you speak French, I know.
Yeah, bonjour is not very difficult.
Vous avez raison, d'autant plus que vous savez vous sortir de situations plus périlleuses, et notamment avoir su imposer avec vos 3 derniers films une marque nouvelle, faite d'inventions esthétiques et de décalage narratif. Donc, pas besoin de chercher très loin pour trouver où se niche votre talent. Après avoir eu les honneurs du Festival de Cannes avec Canine, The Lobster et la mise à mort du cerf sacré, voilà votre nouvel opus, La Favorite. Rien de moins qu'un chef-d'œuvre, un jeu de massacre cruel autour des apparences, du pouvoir et de la manipulation.
None for the Queen. What? Well, you cannot have hot chocolate. Your stomach, the sugar inflames it.
Abigail, hand me that cup.
Do not.
I'm sorry, I do not know what to do.
Oh, fine. Give it to her. And then you can get a bucket and a mop for the aftermath.
La dernière fois que nous sommes vus, c'était en 2015, au moment de la sortie de The Lobster. Et vous me disiez que l'école de cinéma que vous aviez faite ne vous avait rien appris et que la seule chose que vous connaissiez en termes de mise en scène, vous l'aviez appris en faisant vos films. Qu'est-ce que vous avez appris en faisant The Favorite?
Can't really say what I learned, but I just enjoyed the experience, especially working with the actors on a very different kind of film, tonally and visually. And I do use kind of the same techniques approaching it, but then you do realize how different it can come out just by changing the elements around what you're making.
I apologize for my appearance. I hoped I might be employed here by you as something.
A monster for the children to play with, perhaps.
It is important to make new friends in court, is it not?
You're so beautiful. Stop it, you mock me. If I were a man, I would ravish you.
You have become close to Abigail. She is a viper.
Votre histoire, elle parle du pouvoir et de son corollaire, qui est la corruption. Alors, est-ce que c'est pour accentuer ce qu'est le pouvoir, et notamment ce qu'il déforme, que vous avez utilisé cette focale très particulière qui s'appelle The Fish Eyes?
One of the reasons was just walking into those huge spaces and seeing that people actually lived there, these rooms were like these huge rooms that had one bed, at the edge of the room, a huge bed, but it looked so small because of the huge space, and I just wanted to enhance that feeling for the people in the story as well, like the lone human figure in a huge space, distorted because it kind of mirrors a lot of their state of mind and their dynamics and how far they're willing to go and into achieving their goals and surviving. But also at the same time it kind of felt appropriately period, because when we started using those lenses and seeing the world distorted like that, it reminded me a lot of 16th or 17th century Dutch paintings that used to have like convex mirrors somewhere in the frame, and you would see the space distorted through them. So at the same time, it felt period as well, although you're not used to seeing period films filmed that way.
May I exhort the chamber to roar a mighty hurrah for Her Majesty in her brilliant decision to not raise the land tax. Hurrah! For the doubling of the tax would have been a disaster, and the fields would have run with blood as the countryside rose up against our city friends, to add to the piling dead of our sons already on the field of this war.
J'ai pas peur de le dire, votre film est un chef-d'œuvre. Et c'est un chef-d'œuvre qui est au croisement de 2 grands metteurs en scène. D'abord, Peter Greenaway, parce que je pense au Ventre de l'architecte, puisque c'est un film de complot, comme le vôtre. Je pense à Meurtre dans un jardin anglais, parce qu'il y a le même travail de la mise en scène comme géométrie, et que, comme vous le dites, vous filmez dans un plan large pour nous concentrer sur des détails. Est-ce que Peter Greenaway, c'est une correspondance qui vous va?
Well, yes, definitely. We did discuss the draftsman's contract in particular a lot in the beginning, but it wasn't so much for the framing, because ours, I don't think it's so symmetrical. And it was impressive that, you know, the aesthetic and visual aspect of it, how they approached you know, the costume design and set design, and I think we even found one of the wigs that they used and restructured it and used it in the film. So yeah, he was definitely someone that inspired us into going further. And in our case, we even used you know, contemporary material like leather and plastic. We used 3D printed accessories. So yeah, it was one of the films that made us think that we can just, you know, do anything with period film. It didn't have to be the way we perceive them.
Le deuxième, on va pas y couper, c'est forcément Stanley Kubrick et Barry Lyndon pour le motif pictural et parce qu'à un moment, lui comme vous décrivez la vanité humaine.
Yeah, well, Barry Lyndon, although it is a film that I love, I tried to stay away from it while making this film, because it's an obvious connotation and connection. When you see a period film around that period, you just tend to think Barry Lyndon because it's one of the greatest films made. Although it's a film I love, we try to not reference it at all. It's inevitable for people to think of it because, you know, the use of the candlelight, which is something that the two films have in common, and, you know, those locations and spaces, obviously. But I think you're trying to look too much into it because, you know, of the connection. But I think there's many different themes in our film, and some, of course, that overlap with Barry Lyndon.
Mais on aurait pu parler de Milos Forman, de Amadeus, on aurait pu parler des duellistes de Ridley Scott, parce qu'il est question là aussi, chez Ridley Scott comme chez vous, de deux personnages qui se défient. Comment le cinéma des autres vous aide à faire le vôtre, Yórgos?
Well, I guess it's the only way that we can move forward and progress and try and do different things. Amadeus, again, was one of the films that I revisited while making this because Milos Forman, you know, created this very particular tone, and there was a lot of humor in that film, which was something not necessarily common while making a period film or a biopic, especially.
I'm a vulgar man. But I assure you, my music is not.
He is divinely inspired. He is arrogant, vulgar, obscene. He creates music for the gods. He is passionate. He burns with fire. He is an angel. He is a devil.
But in general, yes, I mean, I am inspired by other filmmakers, and I do watch a lot of films, and you try to learn and you try to do it differently because you're vain and you're trying to do something original, and of course, a lot of the time you fail. But I think that's what, you know, one of the things that keeps you going.
Are you following me? I said, are you following me?
You seem to be following me, sir, as I am in front of you.
That was you I saw on the horse this morning.
I'm a servant. Where would I get a horse? Perhaps you dreamt of me.
Perhaps it was you, and I should have you stripped and whipped.
I'm waiting.
Yórgos, la dernière fois, vous m'aviez fait une confidence. Et vous qui êtes un homme pudique, peut-être que vous ne vous en souvenez pas, vous m'avez dit que vos deux metteurs en scène préférés, c'était John Cassavetes et Robert Bresson.
Oui.
De quelle manière leur influence se retrouve ou peut se retrouver dans The Favorite?
I don't know. Can you? For me, you know, referencing films and directors, and that's why I try to avoid it, and because there's so many and so different. And I think the reason for a number of years that I chose Cassavetes and Bresson, it's because they are two of my favorite filmmakers, but there are many more, and they're different at different times in my life. But I like the fact that they're so different to each other, but they manage to move me in a very similar fashion. I get as moved by watching a Cassavetes film as much as, you know, when I watch a Robert Bresson film, and I think, I don't know, that says something about being able to do things in a very different way, but still be able to reach someone in a very similar way. So, you know, if someone's moved by what, you know, what I'm making, I think that's definitely a connection between all of these things. But I don't know if there's something, you know, that you can see easily in a superficial way just by looking at the films, if there's something there. I know that they have affected me, so there must be something in there.
Pour comprendre le jeu émotionnel entre le personnage d'Emma Stone et Rachel Weisz dit qu'il y a quelque chose de Eve de Mankiewicz. Et dans Eve, c'est le parcours d'une intrigante, donc c'est très proche de The Favorite. Est-ce qu'on aurait raison de rapprocher Eve et The Favorite pour comprendre les enjeux entre ces deux personnages féminins?
Have you really seen every performance?
I'd like anything Miss Channing played.
Would you really? How sweet. We'll go somewhere and talk.
Being here with Miss Channing has been I just can't say.
Suddenly I've developed a big protective feeling toward her, a lamb loose in our big stone jungle.
She thinks only about you anyway.
How do you mean that?
Like she's studying you. Like it was a play or a book or a set of blueprints.
But Eve, Margot, let me tell you about Eve. She's got everything. A born actress. Young, exciting, vibrant.
Don't run out of adjectives, dear. However did you get the idea of letting Eve read with Miss Caswell?
Well, she's your understudy.
Again, obviously, yes, that's one of the films that we discussed about early on, especially tonally, because we have a trio in our film, not a duo. So it's a very different dynamic. But you know, there are many other things like, you know, The Servant, Joseph Losey's The Servant, we referenced early on, or Luis Buñuel's The Diary of a Chambermaid. So there's, you know, there's a lot that you can think of and reference, but hopefully, you know, we managed to make our own thing.
Il faudrait qu'on parle un peu plus longtemps.
Oui.
Oui, vous promettez, hein?
Non.